All right, we are live. Welcome to the Real Momentum Podcast, Facebook Live, and if you're listening to this on one of the podcast services that we subscribe to, welcome. Super excited to be here with my guys, Blake and Blair Frei. They're golfers, which makes me love them all the more. They were recently ranked the second best looking team in Real Broker, right behind Taylor and I. But anyways, so who's actually older between you guys?
So I'm Blake's older. I am.
Okay. And how far apart are you guys?
I'm 3.5 years older.
Okay. Sweet. When did you guys graduate? Because we have to be around the same age.
High school?
Yeah.
I graduated in 2000.
I was 2004.
Okay. So then Blake's 3 years younger than me and Blair's 6 years younger than me, but
you don't.
Well, let's talk for a minute. Let's talk about your origin story. How did you guys get into real estate? Because you grew up in Southern Utah, right? Or were you up
north? Yeah, born and raised. Yeah, go ahead, Blake.
Yeah, I'll start first. So, yeah, we'll make it quick. But we grew up. Our dad was a real estate agent, but he was a developer. He helped buyers and sellers, but he basically the last 20 years of his career, he bought raw land and developed it primarily into residential lots and then sold it off to builders. So we grew up in a real estate household. Our uncle, Jerry Jensen, owns a brokerage here in St. George, who we worked for over 10 years.
Wow. And
the weird thing is neither one of us really grew up wanting to be a real estate agent. I attended college at Southern Utah University, and I actually was a biology major. I have a major in biology. I finished, and I'm a chemistry minor.
Wow.
And I was deep on my way to dental school. Yeah. I had taken the DAT. I was way into it, and I'd already applied to dental schools. And then I had the epiphany moment that I don't think this is the right career path for me. Ironically,
I'm glad you figured that out before going to dental school.
Yeah, me too. Before I went dental school, another 4 years and $350,000 of debt. Yeah. So, anyways,
well, because I've known guys who've gone down that path and they decide. Like I remember early, I got my real estate license, and I always wanted to be an attorney, but I just didn't want to pay the price. I didn't want to go to school, and so there was this guy that I went to church with, and he was an attorney. Like he accomplished my goal, and then he decided I just want to be a realtor. Like, bro, you went to school for like 8 years post high school to become a realtor that you could do in 2 weeks. But anyways, go ahead.
So this was 2008. And at the time, the economy was just collapsing. Like the housing crisis was in full effect. My wife had just got accepted into what the heck is it? Radiation technology school.
Okay.
It's a 2-year program, and she was doing it at SUU. So I thought, what the heck? I'll stick around and go to college while you're going to college. So I stopped the dental route, and I decided to get my master's degree in business administration, an MBA. So I had to get a minor in business, which I did quickly. I did it through a summer. And then I applied for the MBA program. I was the only biology major in the MBA program. And that took me another 2 years. So I'm an overqualified realtor. I went to school for 7 years to get a master in biology, minor in chemistry, and I have a master's degree in business administration. So
that's awesome.
Coming out of college, I actually wanted to be a financial planner. And I got my Series 6, my Series 63, and my Series 65 securities license. And I was peddling insurance. And it was too much paperwork and too much office time. I hated all the office time. I hated all the paperwork. So it was then my dad said, Blake, you've been trying to do your thing for a long time and you're kind of spinning your tires. Why don't you come try this real estate gig? So I got my license in 6 months and literally hit the ground, and I've never looked back. Yeah, and that was awesome. 12 years ago.
How about you, Blair?
Yeah, so a little bit similar. No real estate in the plans, but got home from my mission from the Philippines. Is 21, trying to figure out
Cebuano?
Tagalog, and Blake also served in the Philippines.
Oh, nice.
So we both speak Tagalog, different missions.
So my stepmom, she passed away from COVID last year, but she's Filipino, And so
no
I
way.
grew up on Filipino food. Yeah.
Oh,
Pizza,
man.
adobo, and the whole thing.
Did some adobo chicken. Yeah, there's
Right
nothing
on.
better. Nothing better.
So we were at Pebble Beach. We went to Pebble and we pulled into to check in, and the guy checking us in as we were leaving, I said "Salamat," and it was like he just lit up. And,
Oh, yeah.
and how does this white guy with Hispanic last name know how to thank me in Tagalog? But
nothing better.
Yeah.
No, the Filipinos are awesome. Anyways, yeah, I got home trying to figure out life, what I want to do. Got accepted into BYU. Went up to school up there. Just doing the BYU thing, and majored in finance and economics. And they were, they push you pretty hard to go work for Goldman Sachs or Bain Capital or Merrill Lynch. So I was graduating in 2011, and the job market wasn't exactly popping back then. So I was interviewing everywhere, trying to get on, with 100 other BYU students, and they're taking 2 kids. And went second, third rounds interviews, didn't get it. And I was graduating and didn't have a job, literally. And talking, and he's like, well, why don't you come down here and start doing real estate with me? And in the meantime, you can keep interviewing, just do whatever you want, but get your license and come down here. And that was 11 years ago this year. So never looked back.
So what's the jersey behind you? Because I have a UNLV jersey up in here, and everybody's like, "Did you play for UNLV?" And I was like, "No, I just
UNLV. That's our guy Donovan Mitchell.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're big Jazz fans, and my brother and I were at a game, and he signed a jersey for us. So,
that's right.
Yeah, kind of cool.
So talk about becoming a team, because teams are hard. So Taylor and I have been partners for. Well, I guess teams are one thing, but partnerships are tougher, I would say. So he and I have been business partners now for going on 17 years. And so I know some of the complexities that go along with that. But at what point did you guys decide, like, let's tackle this together and create a partnership and a team? And like, what have been some of your takeaways from that process?
Yeah, it's a good question. So back in 2011 and 12, when I was working with so many buyers selling so many REO foreclosure properties that I could only work with one buyer at a time and only put one buyer in my truck at a time to go show properties. And Blair was graduating college. I said, dude, I'm so busy. Get your license, come down here, and you help me be a buyer's agent. And so Blair came down, and I mean, he hit the ground running, has a great personality, and buyers really attracted. And that's what both of us did for a long time, was just sold foreclosures.
And yeah, St. George got absolutely hammered. I mean, you saw just like Vegas.
It was like Vegas Junior, yeah.
Oh, so we hit the ground running. I said, hey, let's team up. And at first it was I'll mostly do listings, you mostly do buyers. And we were both, we were doing both. And I said, hey, let's make a go at this. So we formed the Frei team. We hired a transaction coordinator, and it's been 10 years in the runnings. It's been fantastic.
Do you guys have buyer's agents, or is it just the two of you and a TC?
So right now it's just the two of us and a TC. Our previous TC was licensed. She had her third kid and retired from us. So we got a new transaction coordinator, Hannah. Blair, how long's Hannah been with us? A year?
Just over a year, and she's taken her test this month to get licensed. So she'll be able to help us out. But yeah, the complexities of a partnership, and really once we started, and we're looking at some of our friends who do the business, and I'm like, dude, how do you go to Cancun for a week by yourself if you've got buyers and sellers that you're trying to work with, and you don't have anyone to help you? And so we kind of realized that early on that, Blake can go peace out for a week, and I'm here, I can handle everything. And then vice versa, and go on an Alaskan cruise with no service and know that Blake's got everything handled. So once we realized that, we knew we could still live the life we wanted to live and not be answering emails and text messages your whole vacation if you're by yourself.
Well, what we need to figure out is who's going to cover for you guys when we go to Pebble, if you're both.
That's right. We got Hannah covering for us.
Hannah, yeah. So talk a little bit about, so I think you guys are really good at a bunch of stuff, but what's your superpower? Like, what are you guys doing really well that has led to your success? Because obviously the REO stuff has dried up over the years, and so you've had to find additional sources of business. So what's your superpower? What do you guys as a team or individuals, what do you guys excel at?
So I'll start out as a team. So we were starting out, when you're new in the business, Blair and I were both, well, I was heavy. I was a Mike Frei agent. I was calling expireds, calling FSBOs, just trying to get any business I could. I had Blair take the buyer's agent course through Mike Frei. And we were doing one-on-one coaching. Over time, I said, Blair, both of us sat down. We said, you know what? We want to build a business that's built by referral. Blair and I are born and raised in St. George. We very involved in athletics, very involved in various service communities, service projects. So we know a lot of people in St. George. I said, Blair, eventually we need to build our brand, and we need to work by referral. So we actually transitioned over to Brian Buffini's system. We do his coaching. We still do it to this day. And that's our whole model, is we work by referral. We want our clients to be clients for life. We want them to refer their uncles, their aunts, their friends, their cousins. We want to get as much business as we can from every client. We want to have a relationship with every client. So that's really how we've scaled our business, is to work by referral.
Yeah. So, I mean, St. George is a small market. So talk about the complexities there. I mean, I would probably say it's actually a medium-sized market, right? Like what is the population base there in St. George and Washington and kind of the whole area?
So Washington County, which is composed of 4 major cities, we're at about 180,000 people.
Okay.
That's our market, about 180,000.
How many agents are there in that metro area?
So right now there's 1,600 registered realtors in Washington County.
Yeah. So how do you guys navigate that? Because everybody's got friends and family. Like, you guys are doing the referral program, and I'm sure working clients and people you grew up with and whatever, but everyone else is trying to do the same thing. So what are some of the complexities that people from a small market, what have been some of your guys' takeaways of going like, oh, cool, well, it still can be done, even though in a smaller market, everybody knows everybody.
Go ahead, Blair.
Yeah. I think, you're spot on. It's a small market. Everyone knows a realtor, right? I mean, somebody's aunt, somebody's grandma. And, we decided the one thing we're going to do is just be consistent.
Yeah.
We've got our systems in place, and we're going to be consistent, and we will stand out above everyone else if we just continue to do the same thing year in, year out. And, one example, it's pretty cheesy, but it's Utah. Either you're a BYU or a Utah Utes fan, right?
Yeah.
You root for one or the other. And, one year we decided, I'm like, what would be pretty cool? I think I saw it somewhere back east, some other teams, but just a fridge magnet with BYU's schedule and Utah's schedule on it, on half the magnets, a little football magnet with our faces on it and our logo at the bottom.
Yeah.
We've been doing that for 9 years, and people just expect it. I mean, I posted on Facebook. We ended up mailing them all over the country. People are like, oh, send me one here. I'm in New York. I'm in New Jersey. You just sold college friends, whatever.
Well, because the reality is, what people may not understand is, if you root for BYU, you actively root against Utah.
You hate Utah, correct?
Yeah, it's not just you choose one.
So
it's like if you're a Utah fan, you want to know when BYU's playing because you want to know.
You want them to lose.
Lost. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And it's so cheesy. And every July we send that out. And I can't tell you how many houses we go in. Just went into one last week for a listing consultation. There's our faces on their fridge. Every time they open that fridge for an entire year, they're looking at my face, and it's so cheesy. It's something we've done for 8 years in a row, and people expect it now. During the COVID year and college was delayed, people are like, are you guys still doing a magnet? We get hit up for it. It's just funny, but that's just an example of how we want to stay consistent and stay in front of people and let people know that we're in this for the long haul.
Well, I saw something I shared with my team today on Instagram. As I'm going through Instagram, I'm always saving things, and this one said, intelligent people realize that success is 5% brains and 95% consistency. And it's like, you don't even have to do anything that outstanding, right? Like a buddy of mine up in Vancouver, Washington, he delivers something like 2,000 pumpkins every year. So he's got some farm that sells them pumpkins, and they go door to door in like 10 different neighborhoods, with 200 houses each. And he delivers 2,000 pumpkins door to door. And that's a big source of his business is people just know come Halloween time, they're getting one of his pumpkins. And so it is that consistency. I think we're always looking for ways to do things smarter, but I think one of the most intelligent things we can do is be consistent. So we'll talk about this for a second. So what's the next thing you guys are trying to fix? Like, what is a weakness you guys are trying to work on as you evaluate your business? Because one of the things that you didn't mention that I think you guys do really, really well is social. Like, I find myself getting caught up in your, like, would you buy this? Would you buy, like, you guys do a lot of stuff like Instagram stories, giveaways for the Parade of Homes. Like, you guys are super active on social, and it's not just active because you see people. I think one of the things I like about what you guys are doing is it's not pretentious. It's not, holding Porsche keys and taking a picture of them and being like showing homes is more comfortable in this or whatever stupid stuff realtors do. Like, your guys is all about actual production. So I think you guys are really, really good at that. Where are some areas you guys have looked at and said, hey, you know what, we could actually be a lot better in this area?
So I'll give you my thoughts. And Joe, you asked us, what's our team? It's me and Blair and a TC.
Right.
We look at other teams here in town, and there's obviously bigger teams than us. We're one of the smallest teams in town. We're what I would describe as we're lean and mean.
Right.
But we've had the thought, should we scale our team more? Should we bring on more buyer's agents? Should we bring on listing agents? So I don't know if it's a weakness, but it's one of the things that we really haven't ventured out to as far as scaling our team and losing a little bit of control of buyers and sellers in order to generate more business. And that's to be determined. We don't know the right answer there if we should scale our team and bring on more agents. But I consider it kind of a weakness that we're just very comfortable at what we do, and we do a high volume of business just being lean and mean.
Right. Well, and I think you're right. I think the reality is no one can do what you're doing. Like, if you ask me off record, like, hey, what do you think about us starting a team? I would say, well, you just have to accept the fact that no one's going to be as good as you, period. And it's going to drive you crazy because you guys are used to a standard of excellence. Just from the little bit I've got to know you guys, you're just really good. And so the challenge that it presents then is, how do you help people succeed knowing that they're only going to be 80 or 90% of who you are? And that's a challenge of every team. It's a challenge of getting agents who are used to running their own files to use a transaction management team. It's the challenge of getting guys like you to start referring out some of these people you know, like, love, and trust to other agents and watch them bumble through it. It's a growing pain for sure, but I think it's cool that you guys are thinking about that. Talk to me a little bit about your spouses. I don't know, Blair. I know, Blake, you're married. Blair, are you married?
Correct. Yes.
So because I know for my partner and I, we could not have existed were it not for the level-headedness of our spouses. Like, when I've seen partnerships break up, a lot of times it's not even the partners getting at each other. It's going home and then the spouse getting in their ear and saying, why, like, how come Blair's up in Alaska and you're down here, Blake? Like, we should be in Alaska. So how do your spouses handle the partnership? And I guess to take it to the next level, how do you think they would handle team construction, having agents and working, like, my wife has to be very patient because, Spring will call me, or Amy will call me, or Angie will call me, and I'll walk out of a movie to take a call for 20 minutes to someone that's working on our team or someone I'm collaborating with. And so anyways, talk about your spouses and what are their thoughts on your team? How do they handle, like, it's inevitable that Blake's going to produce 60% of the income one year and then Blair's going to do it the next year. So, like, how have you guys navigated some of that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And fortunately for us, our wives, they're really, really good friends. They are in running groups together. So they're always exercising and running together. And so I think we would have found out in the first year or two, kind of, if this wasn't going to work, because you're spot on. They play such a huge role. And like you said, you get home and you're going to, and not to say that it hasn't happened, like, oh, Blake's, they're headed to here and here for spring break. Why are we here?
Right.
And, and it's a give and take relationship, and there's some training there, but fortunately they are really, really close friends. And then both of us have kids the same age, and our kids are all best friends. I mean, they're basically little cousins. So it's it's worked out pretty well on that end of things.
So it's a family business. I like it. We'll talk about the future. So where does the Frei Group go? I think expansion is one of those things, like getting agents on the team. Have you guys looked at
My phone
the state of
just went off.
Utah and just saying, like, how do you dominate the state of Utah and go? Have you guys looked up north? Have you looked at coming to Vegas? Like, what does the future look like for the Frei Group?
Yeah, no, another great question. Are you on, Blake?
No, it just
We can hear you.
I got a call, but I can't hear anyone.
I can still see you. If you hop off, though, you can sit next to Blair, and we can do it that way.
Yeah, if you come sit over here, just come sit over here. No, it's a great question. And again, I think for us, it's really come down to how big do we want to get? Do we want to go that route or not? And that's where I think, we're going to be leaning on you guys, and which has been fun to get to know you and Taylor, and you guys are, I feel like you guys have done what we've done, but you're like 5 years ahead of us.
Well, that's, to be honest, that's why we're building out our team leader academy for that exact reason, which is like there was no one for us to really lean on as we built it and as we made a million mistakes. So now as we move forward and build that team leader academy, it's more about how do we help people not make the same mistakes we made. We've been through hundreds of buyers agents. Splits have been all over the place. And so there's lots of challenges that come with it. One question I had for you guys. So you guys were in early December, late November, can't remember. I came up to St. George, and Red Rock, this massive brand, like the number one real estate company in Southern Utah, to some degree in Utah, announced that they were moving over to Real. And I think you guys were a little bit caught off guard, as were the other couple hundred agents sitting there. What were your reservations, and what's been your actual experience? Like what concerned you at first, and what's been the I guess the happy accidents that have come from it?
Yeah, I'll go first real quick. So, and again, Blake gave a little bit of a background, but we were, our uncle owned a brokerage, Realty Executives, big international brand. They're all over Arizona. I think they're down in Vegas quite a bit. And they're actually the only branch here in Utah. It was the little one we had. So we've been there. I've been there 10 years, Blake, 11 years, all at this brokerage. And our good friend Adam Legg, who's the broker, one of the owners here at Red Rock, he's been after us for 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Always hounding us. And in October, and it'd been a long time coming, bunch of meetings, making sure it's the right move. We finally leave Realty Executives and we come here to Red Rock in October.
And so a month later, this happens.
A month later, we get introduced to Real. And so a little bit of a curveball. Like you said, we were pretty caught off guard. Some reservations, rightfully so, just saying, what is this? Like, what are we looking at, And for me, honestly, and we were still on the fence, because he's like, they said, you can stay at Red Rock. You don't have to go to Real if you don't want to.
Right.
When you and Taylor came up and we're sitting in Adam's office, and we chatted with you for probably an hour, 45 minutes to an hour.
Yep.
And you guys were just so transparent, like almost to a fault, I think.
Yeah.
Where I was like, man, these guys are pretty chill, level-headed dudes. And we hit you with some pretty straightforward questions. And I think we left that, the 10 days leading up to that with the switch and all the news, we were like, I don't know. I don't think we're going to do it.
Right.
And really leaving that meeting with you guys, I was like, holy cow, this is, it's got a lot of upside here. And these guys are pretty straight shooters, and they're pretty level-headed with us. And, you told us some of your concerns and why you guys did it. And I think like I said, I feel like we see ourselves in your guys' shoes just 5 years previous, and you guys have been where we've been. You've had the bumps and bruises, so that helped me a lot. I'll see what Blake has to say.
Yeah, it was anytime. Obviously, with anyone, change is hard. We had just come to Red Rock. They introduced us to Real. We were investigating Real, doing our due diligence. It really helped when you guys came up from Vegas and explained it. And once we've joined, it's been amazing. Like I love it. Like the platform's great. Like different streams of income is fantastic. Love the back end software. You know, SkySlope. Everything's been really cool as far as, and that's where Blair's more techie than I am, but I love everything about it. Like it's just very clean. The commission disbursement form, the way we get paid, it's very efficient and easy. Like it's a good clean brokerage, and our transition's been fantastic.
Well, the thing I love about it is the collaboration aspect, right? So we were in similar worlds where like we had an independent brokerage here. You guys, your Realty Executives was somewhat standalone, and then going over to Red Rock again, standalone. Like for us, we've got partners in Utah, we've got partners in Canada, we've got partners in Pennsylvania, and like to collaborate and learn from each other, I think is one of the most powerful things. Somebody that our friend that just joined in Canada last week, the phrase she used was a brokerage without borders. And I think that's what I love the most about it is there's no physical constraints. There's no licensure constraints. Like you could build, you could grow, you could collaborate with agents across North America. Now, someday we'll have you guys open up the Philippines. It'd be awesome.
Oh, how cool would that be?
All right, guys. Well, thanks for hopping on. Looking forward to the future and growing together.
Hey, this is awesome. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. It's been awesome.